Okay, you guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a couple of weeks now, but I am back and I want to show you how a complete loan signing is. This is basically the rhythm that I have gone into and what I have found that works best for me. Stay tuned, okay, to see how I do things, and hopefully this helps you guys out. First thing I do is I make sure that my printer has enough paper and ink. You are going to need legal size paper, which legal size paper is the really long paper. It's like this long. And then you have your regular size paper that's this size. So here are the two, right? You can see the difference. Okay, so enough ink. Mine is already running a little bit low, as you can tell. I need some more black ink. Let me show you there. Let's just pretend that I have enough ink right now. I'm good to go. I have enough paper. Now, let me walk you through it. So let's pretend I just got the message or the email, and it is going to either look like this or like this or like this. Once you actually get assigned, it'll say confirmed. And one of the tips I want to give you is, if you are really looking at that signing and you're like, it's very, very close to me, I love that fee, I can totally do that type of loan, call them up, okay? One thing that I have been finding that has really, really helped me get more signings is I see it, I want it, and I call it. You know, I call the signing service and I'm like, hey, my name is Adriana. I just received a notification. I am a notary public on your database and I'm open and available. The signing is, you know, in Pomona, and it is at 3:30. And then if it's not assigned, they'll go ahead and assign it to you. Once you actually get assigned, it'll say confirmed signing. And then you will get a notification telling you that it's confirmed, the signing has been assigned to you. And then usually they tell you to call the signer within 2 hours, but I call the signer once I have the documents. But if they're kind of lagging it a little bit and it's been close to almost 2 hours, you know, after I've been assigned and I still don't have documents, I still call the signer. And if I need any additional information to tell them, right, like if I have to pick up a check from them, if I need them to bring 2 forms of ID instead of just one, or sometimes they have to bring you like the original note or something like that they have to give you, that the lender or whoever hired you, really, if they're asking for something in specific, then they let you know and that's what you have to pick up. So those are like specific things that I tell the signers while I have them on the phone. But anyways, I call the signer, and then afterwards, or hopefully before or after, I already have the loan documents, so you can review the loan documents and then just tell them what information additional information you need from them. So I get the signing, got it confirmed, it's mine. And now what do I do? Okay, so don't freak out. You have more than enough time to prepare. This is not as hard as it seems. So one thing I do want to tell you guys is you absolutely do not need a dual tray printer to start. I would say just get a single tray. Let me show you guys how to make one of these trays into a legal tray. You're going to take this out, and then you have, let me scoot you guys back, okay? All right, so then you have this, right? Paper. This is what it looks like. You can make this is a letter. It says LTR letter. Push this in, has the instructions here, how to get this into legal. And you pull this up. And now, see how that says legal down here? You push this back. You can fit your legal paper in here now. I'm gonna get a stack and show you. Your legal paper now fits perfectly, okay? So you guys don't need a dual tray. You can do it with a single tray. And let me show you how you are going to print your letter and legal pages. Super cool. I tried it out today and I really, really loved it. So I will definitely be looking into purchasing a new printer that doesn't cost me as much for ink, because this one's super expensive. And it's a single tray monochrome Brother. I'll leave the picture of it here so that you guys can take a look at it. It's really cheap. The ink or toner, whatever, it's super cheap. And yeah, I mean, I literally just bought that ink and it's already running out. I've done like maybe 4 signings. So yeah, it's running through my pockets. But let me show you how you can go about doing this signing without a dual tray printer. You are going to go over to Notary Rotary. And it is a PDF page sorter. Let me try to show you as best as I can. So this PDF page sorter, you're going to choose the file and then you process it. And what it does, let me just show you, okay? Actually, I'll do this one. You're going to do this, you're going to click process. And then it shoots out one whole document with like the 34 letter size, and it also does the same for the legal ones. So then what you do is you click the first one and it's going to have your first set of documents to print, and then these are all in letter, right? And then you go to the other one and it's going to have everything in legal. And then here what you do is you're going to have, you're going to have 2 stacks like this, right? Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow this order, right? It says 1 letter, 1 legal, 21 letter, 4. So you'll do 1 letter, 1 legal, right? Let's pretend. And then you'll do 21 letter and then 4 legal. And as you're going, you're creating your loan document package again, but you know, it's back in order. It's really like, it's a lot simpler than how I'm explaining it. I kid you not, like it's super duper simple. That's what I'm going to be doing because like I said, I'm switching out this printer because the ink is just, it's way too much. It doesn't make sense. Wasting so much money on ink when there's cheaper out there, you know. So that's a little trick I want to show you guys, just in case you're like, oh, I don't have a dual tray printer. You can still do it with a single tray printer, okay? So now that you have that and you have the documents, right? Let's say now you're printing. So first thing I want to let you guys know is always review. I'm going to put you over here so that it's not too much, but always review the instructions. What exactly is it telling you to do? Oopsie, it's moving too much. Okay, so always view your instructions. Look at what it's telling you to do. I have all of these documents I'm going to show you. They're available for download below, completely free. You know, all I really ask of you guys is if it's in your heart, okay, if you want to, like, you know, tip me a little bit, I don't mind. I would greatly appreciate it, because obviously it takes time to make these videos and this content, but I really want to help you guys out. So yeah, this is completely free information. I took the time to make up these loan documents for you guys. So it's no one's real information. It's not real addresses. It's nothing on this is real, but it at least gives you an example of a package. So the one I'm leaving is the loan modification, and super simple. I'm also going to leave the U.S. Patriot Act, the signature affidavit, and the notice of right to cancel, and these are all samples. Like I said, free to download. You guys, I highly recommend that you download these and print these and then follow along this video. So yeah, there's that. If you guys would feel generous enough to tip me, I do have my PayPal link below, my Cash App, and my Zelle. So yeah, it's much appreciated. But you know, if not, it's cool. It's cool. Just at least give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe, because that really, really does help me out. So yeah, this right here is the confirmation email along with a few instructions. Okay, now you're gonna have emails that have a whole lot of writing in it. Please read the whole email. It has very specific instructions on how the lender wants things done, and how escrow wants things done, on how everyone included in this paperwork, how they want things done. So it's very important that you follow along with it. So, you know, this first one I'm showing you right now is basically telling me I'm meeting the seller, what their name is, their phone number. It's asking me to collect the original note from the seller. It's asking me to print everything on legal paper. And it's also asking to scan the signed documents immediately after the signing. And then they will send me a UPS label afterwards. It is also asking to provide a copy of the seller's ID, which is a requirement. And they are asking for a voided check. Okay, so those are the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for the note, I'm looking for a copy of ID, and voided check. So as far as copy of ID, no, you don't have to take a copy machine with you. Take a picture with your phone, and then from your phone, you're going to email it over to yourself. And what you do is you just add it onto a Word document and save it as a PDF, and you send it over to them. So super easy to do. Not everyone is going to ask you for an ID, just letting you know. Okay, these are the special instructions, and like I said, these are all available for download below, so please download them, look at them, so when you're watching this video it just makes more sense. So I read all of this, I make sure that, you know, I'm taking note, right? It says use black ink only. You do not need to collect copies of the borrower's IDs. These are from 2 different signings. So like I said, that sometimes they will ask for the copy of ID and sometimes they won't. Why do they ask for it sometimes and why not sometimes? Well, sometimes they didn't get the copy of the ID, so they want it. And that's where you come in. Other times it's against their regulations, really, where they just don't want to be held responsible for like any like identity theft type of stuff, and they're just really trying to protect themselves. So there's a lot of lenders out there that are like, nope, don't even try grabbing the ID. Like, we don't want it on file, we don't want it in our emails, we just don't want it. And that's just the rules that you have to follow. So don't assume that for every signing you grab the ID. Follow the instructions. Sometimes it'll say blue ink. Okay, this one says black ink. So yeah, it gives you the number that you can fax it to if you're still, you know, a little old school like that and you want to fax stuff. But when it says fax back, it means scan back. So you just scan it back and then send it back to the email that they told you to. The next thing I do is the actual lender documents. I go over to view. Well, I download this, right? Go to page display, to page view, and as I'm viewing these, I'm viewing to see who is in the documents. Okay, I have Jonathan Wayne, and then I have Brianna Alonzo Wayne. These are all fake names. And whoever you see on the deed of trust is who has to be able to be there to sign. Okay, so now sometimes you are going to get something where like one party is signing one day and then they're going to be sending this out to someone else. So like I said, read the instructions to see who needs to be present to sign and who is signing on another day, so that you're not confused about who you're calling. And you know, you're telling Jonathan Wayne like, yeah, well, Brianna has to be there, and it's like, no, Brianna is signing on another day. So just follow the instructions. Okay, so this is a sample HELOC. This is a sample loan modification. So that is available for you guys to look at. This is like a super simple package that I had got. And yeah, I was just so like, wow, this is so easy. Just a few pages. It's actually the same document but twice. So, and yes, you guys, if you see even like 3 copies of the same thing, get all 3 copies signed. Doesn't matter if it's the same document. You don't know where the document is going, and one might be going to the lender, one might be going to escrow, one might be going to someone else. Like, it's not your job to know, oh, you put an extra copy in here. No, just get everything signed. Remember that the signers, Jonathan and Brianna, they're gonna get a copy. Okay. Also, what I want to let you guys know is don't assume that these 2 people, if there's 2 signers or 3 signers or 4 signers, don't assume that they're all related and that you can just give 1 copy for all of them. You do actually have to do 1 copy for each person. Okay, you have to follow the rules. Sometimes they will tell you like, oh, you know, just 1 copy for signers, and most likely because they know that they're husband and wife, and you know they want 1 copy. But sometimes it is, you know, a dad and a son, or cousins or sisters, so they want separate copies. So just take note of all that stuff. Okay, let's go over the U.S. Patriot Act form. This one is not always going to be included, but this is the part that I'm telling you. If you see this while you're reviewing, right, you know how we were reviewing this, if you see this page, that's this is 2 forms of ID you have to ask them for, and it could be any one of these that you see here. So you do have to be sure to tell them when you're calling them to confirm the time, date, and location of the signing. You have to be sure to tell them to bring the second form of ID. I have done the mistake of not telling them. I just kind of assumed, which was super bad, because I had the signing at Bank of America. They showed up at Bank of America, and then they were like, yeah, you never told us we needed a second ID. And we were already like in the middle of the signing. So they had to go home and get their passports and bring them back. They were a little bit annoyed, but they got over it because they didn't live far. But the lady did say like, oh, you're lucky we don't live far. I was like, yeah, I'm really lucky. But yeah, so this is the U.S. Patriot Act form. You're going to fill out their information. Okay, you're always verifying the name and the date of birth. And the address is not always going to match, because sometimes it's the business address and not the residential. So, but name, date of birth for sure. And then always look at like the identifying documents that are allowed. Okay. The other one that isn't always included but is super important is the signature affidavit and AKA statement. Basically, this is what the credit bureau has on file for this person. All the different name variations that, you know, when you're applying for credit at different places, right? Like maybe at Macy's you were like, oh, my name's like Adri Wright, but then in reality you're Adriana Wright, right? So hopefully that makes sense, because they're just different variations, and basically you have to have them sign over here on this side, sign the same way that the name variation is. And if it doesn't apply to them, like that's never been a name that they've associated with, you know, like it's a completely off last name, or like, and you know, just if they don't agree with it, they have to write themselves. You don't write it, they write it. Never been known as. Okay. And then you have the notice of right to cancel. For this one, you do have to be sure that this top date is the signing date, and the bottom date is the 3 days after. And there's no need to try to figure out like, oh, like are we doing this holiday, skipping the holiday? Get this from the NNA, take this with you everywhere, and what you do is verify. Okay, so for that one example, it's the 20th, right? I have to be sure that this notice of right to cancel is going to end on 10/23. So when I come on here, I do see that it's October 23rd, so that matches. If for some reason, because you never know, like people can make typos all the time. We're all human beings. So if it is, you cross this off, put the right date, and remember not to have, they do not sign the I wish to cancel part. They only do the acknowledgement of receipt, and they date it. And there's always going to be like 2 copies, maybe more. Just remember that the signer has to keep these copies that are signed. It's 2 copies per signer. Okay, signed copies. Signed down here meaning that they acknowledge receiving it, and the date that they acknowledge receiving it, they have to have 2 copies on them. So, and this is like a super important step. Do not miss that step. Okay, so now we're ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and print out these documents. So I go, oh, well, first of all, I have to do this. Connect to my printer. We're gonna print this, and the way that I print is I go over to choose paper source by PDF size, and I always click actual size because I want to make sure that they have, like, the documents go by like a specific margin, so you don't want to go off the margin and then the documents are not going to be valid. So yeah, things are super specific in this, you guys, so just keep everything the same. Okay, so did this print? Okay, perfect. Printing. Once I do that, I go ahead and update the system if I have to. Let them know, like, I confirmed with the signer, you know, documents printed and stuff like that. I just like keeping them updated. So let's go ahead and get started on this fun part here. Okay, we'll go like this. I'm gonna put this away. Okay. All right. I always verify that the amount of pages I printed out is the same amount of pages that are in the PDF. And then the next thing I do is, let me put you over here. Okay. So the next thing I do is I make sure that the notary certificates in here are what are required here in California. So this is what the acknowledgement looks like here and what the jurat looks like. Okay, the jurat looks like this. It has to have the disclaimer, and then this is the specific wording it needs to have. And this is what the acknowledgement looks like. Okay, again, has to have the disclaimer. It has to have this. Okay, and then these I got from Easy Notary, and you can also just download these for free on the NNA. So what I do is let me zoom you in a little bit more. Okay, perfect. So what I do is I just start to scan through. Okay, I look at like what they're asking me. Okay, this is it. These, you guys have copies of these. Okay, I have them below. This is all fake stuff. Nothing is real. We're going to follow the instructions. Black ink only. This is the modification of deed of trust. If you need to know how, you know, how would you explain this to the signer? Okay, modification, it's a modification. They're changing something on the deed of trust. Okay, the deed of trust is what? A security instrument. your deed of trust or mortgage. Okay, this document is also called a security instrument. It gives the lender an interest in your property, and it will be recorded at your local courthouse. That's something that you can say, and I got this from the Notary to Notary course. Okay, simple. So that's what you say. And look at this. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Making sure. All right. Signers that gotta show up. All right. So this is the acknowledgement. How do you know it's an acknowledgement? It says space below this line for acknowledgements. This is your disclaimer. This is good. This is how a California one looks like, right? It complies. Okay. You're gonna do this. This is your notarial certificate, and you put your stamp there, and they're asking you to handwrite this information. So that's that. This next one that you guys see, this is page 8 of 9 of the deed of trust. This is looking for someone of 9 Point Financial Corporation. No one from 9 Point Financial is in front of you, so it doesn't apply to you. This one, they're looking for the Assistant Secretary of Hello Electronic Registration Systems. They're not in front of you, so this is not for you, okay? This is another copy of the modification of deed of trust. Okay, it's not your job to know why there's two. I mean, that if you know, then you know, right? Then you probably know a little more about the mortgage industry. But yeah, and then this would be Exhibit A, and this is the legal description of your property. Okay. All right. This is the U.S. Patriot Act. This was not included with the loan modification, and it is not always included in all of the packages, but for the most part, you will see them. This is where you verify the name, you verify the date of birth, and it's 2 forms of identifying documents. Okay, and this is to help the government fight the funding of terrorism and money laundering activities. So that's how you can explain this, okay? And then you're the one that actually checks these off, writes this in, and there's usually the second page. This is page 1 of 2, but there's another page where you will write your name, your signature, and then where it says for your title is always Notary Public on all of these documents. This is the notice of right to cancel. This one is not always included, but for the most part you will see it. This is the first date, that's the signing date. Okay? This date is the 3 days after. Remember, we verified that with the notice, with the rescission calendar from the NNA. This is the part that they do not sign, because it literally says, I wish to cancel. Do they wish to cancel? No. Acknowledgement of receipt, that's where they sign and date. And if it says date, you date. If it just says signature, then you just sign. You don't start adding dates where there isn't any. That's how you do that. Okay. And so when I get to the signing, I have the signer's copy in one of these. Okay. Signer's copy in one of those manila envelopes. And I have my copy that I need to send back in one of these. These are the FedEx or UPS as well. But these are the reusable large packs, and these are plastic. I wouldn't recommend using the cardboard one because, you know, rainy season, snowy season is here. You want these documents to stay safe at all times. So I picked these up, and then this is where you put the label. These are free. Just pick them up for free. Grab a handful of them. Also, I started using these as well for the signers because, like I said, it's rainy season. I don't want their stuff to get messed up. These are flexible mailers. 5-pack. I just got this from Walmart, and it's the same like the FedEx ones, except it doesn't say FedEx. It's just like this. And I put the documents in here, again, to be sure that they are safe, they don't get wet, they don't get damaged. And this is for the customer's copy. Or you can also get like a little binder folder. I'll show you guys a picture of one. This is one that I'm going to be ordering these because I'm really trying to up my game, especially when I'm you know, getting like direct signings. I want to be sure that I'm like the best extension of these professionals. Like, I want to be sure that when they think of me as a notary, they're like, oh yeah, she represents me like with the highest standards. She gives my borrowers, my clients, or whoever, you know, the best customer service. She, you know, gives them their loans in a, you know, very caring way, because I feel like you gotta actually care enough to be like, oh no, shoot, their stuff's gonna get messed up if I just, you know, give them stuff in one of these. So also it just looks better, right? It looks better giving them in a nice folder than just one of these. So just an idea for later on. But yeah, so I get there to the signing, and the first thing I show is this. This is my badge. It's just my business card on one of these little things here. Got this at Staples. Okay, and then I have extra business cards in here and there, and I'll just like pull them out if I need. When I first walk in, you know, I introduce myself and I show them this. Okay, so I'm at the table, you know, hi, nice to meet you, whatever. They're gonna hand me their ID, right? They're gonna hand me their ID. I'm looking at their ID, and I'm looking at the names here to make sure that I have both of these people in front of me and not two randoms, okay? Or people that are trying to do some fraud, sketchy stuff. So I have the ID there, and I bring out the journal. This is the Integrity Notary Journal. If you guys are interested, I do recommend this journal because it's just so easy to work with. So this is what the page looks like. Okay, looks like that. And I'm not gonna fill this out because it's not real. And I'm trying to keep this, you know, journal of mine in compliance. So I write the date, time, the name, and this is, you know, signers, or if they're a witness. Identity verified, is it a driver's license, was it a passport, or what was it, right? Willingness and competence, I check everything off. And then the format, well, it's paper because it's not electronic or RON. So technically it's paper. So documents signed, I just go ahead and check off the documents that I notarized. How do you know you notarized the document? Because you put a stamp on it, and that you notarize the doc. So you look for the document here, and then you check it off. Okay, and you circle which signer is for what. And then down here, I don't put addresses. I actually just ask for their phone number, signature, and right thumbprint, because here in California, we need the right thumbprint. But this part, I wait till last. This is the first part I do. This right here, as I go in my signing, I'm checking off which ones I actually notarize. So I have this here open on this side. Okay, thank you. Wrote this information down. I'm gonna keep your ID here, you know, in the meantime. And then I have my stamp, okay? And I have my sort quick. So I start to sort through these things, okay? Okay, Jonathan and Brianna, let me go ahead and make sure that this is your property address. Okay, perfect. And then when I hand it to them, it's always like, oh, you know, verify this is your information. Da, 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 da. Okay, thank you. Get it back and back in order. Keep everything in order. Okay. Have that there. This over here. Okay, these are just acknowledgement examples. This right here is the 9-point financial modification checklist, and we are going to go ahead and check off these after, but for now, if I can just get your signatures here and date, and we will be signing in black ink only. Okay, perfect. They'll go ahead and sign. And remember, when they're signing, I know sometimes it's hard, right? Because a lot of the times they're asking the signer to sign exactly the way their name is written. So the way that they would sign would be like, right, this is Jonathan. It would be like Jonathan Wayne, right? Sometimes their signature is more like, right? And like that's like their signature on everything. If they get something like that comes back to them, like that's their signature. When it comes to things like this, I tell them the instructions that they want them to sign exactly the way their name is printed, you know, to avoid any rejections. But like today I got the signer that told me, you know, like, but my signature is literally like a symbol, and I don't know how to sign my name any other way. So, you know, and then he started to tell me everything I signed already for them is like this. So if I sign like this, it's not really gonna match or make sense. So I was like, okay, fine. If it's too much, right, like to write out your signature like this, and that's fine, just use your symbol. And that was fine. I had to do scan backs and get approval beforehand, and they were approved. So that means that it's, I'm not saying that for everything they're gonna let that slide, but just try to tell the signers, like, look, they want you to sign exactly like this because they don't want this to get rejected. If you have a symbol, right, and that's your signature, then okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and give this a shot, but I'm just letting you know, it might get rejected because this is how they want it to be signed. So, the best that I can here, because my light is out. Okay, so, and then make sure that they date, right? And it's always the correct date. Never ever tell them, you know, like tell them the date before they actually sign, okay? When you get it back, verify that it's there. And remember, we're going to go back and we need to have them initial the ones that apply, and then you're going to initial the ones that apply. So don't forget about that. Okay, so this is your modification of deed of trust, and your deed of trust is also known as a security instrument, and this will be filed with your county city clerk's office. Let's go ahead and verify the original loan amount here. Okay, and the lender you have and the property address. Hand it over to them like this. They verify, yes, that's correct. Okay, perfect. And I also have here the first modified payment will be due on September 1st. The maturity date will be August 1st. The new principal balance of the note will be $552,227 with 62 cents, which will also be known as the new principal balance. Your interest rate is at 3.625%, and this will begin to accrue August 1st. Your new monthly payment on the principal balance will be September 1st, 2021, and this is your payment schedule. Go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, they verify, right? All the information I just said right now, you guys, if you're looking at the copy of this, it's here. Here, 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 here. That's all I read. And then I showed them these numbers. They verified everything's good. Perfect. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move forward. If I can please have you sign and date here. Okay, right? So it'll be the same. Wayne, 10, 20, 21. 10, 20, 21. Perfect. When they're signing it and you get it back, verify. Perfect. Back in the stack. Okay, this is your acknowledgement here. All right, let me zoom in. Zoom in. Okay, you guys. So this is the acknowledgement. Always ask them what county you're in if you don't already see that, like over here somewhere. Usually on here it says official records of Los Angeles County, right? So the signing is not always going to be the same county that you see on these documents, so just verify with them. So let's just say this is Los Angeles County. I like to put things out like this: October 20, and always the full year. Okay, before me, that's me, Adriana. Okay, if it didn't have Notary Public here, I will do comma Notary Public. The names here verify that they're spelled correctly and that these are the people in front of you. Okay, which they are. Sign, and then you ask them the acknowledgement question. Do we acknowledge that these are your signatures? That these are your signatures and that you are signing voluntarily and under your own free will? They will both say yes. Perfect. You will stamp. Okay, your stamp. Make sure your stamp does not touch any words, anything, and it's not too much on the edge, because when this gets recorded, you don't want this to get cut off. You want this all to be in here, okay? Every piece of your stamp has to be on there, and it has to be legible, okay? It has to be readable. Everything. I once had a stamp that literally just the one didn't print. It was so weird. It was like this right here and the one, but everything else was perfect. So, and I had to redo it. So, make sure that comes out good. If it doesn't, you do one single line. Okay. Let me do it on this. Let me do an example. If you mess up, right, it looks like this. Let's just say this is your stamp. This is not good. See how this is here? You can't even see that. You are going to do one line. Okay. Re-stamp. Now it's better. Okay. You do not have to scribble. No scribbling. Just one line and redo it. Then that's a good stamp. This bottom part here, they're actually asking me to fill it out. So name of notary. Okay, you're gonna fill out your information. County. And this is your info, okay? My phone number. Notary registration number, which will be my commission number. And the expiration date as well. This information is also here on your stamp, okay? And then that's it. That's what you do there, okay? Move on. Nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. Again, modification of deed of trust. It's the same information. This is just a different copy, but let's go ahead and verify the information, please. You show it to them. Is that correct? Perfect. Now let's go ahead, sign. Okay, and then they sign, right? Okay, let's say that they did this. They handed it to you, right? And as you're verifying it, you're like, okay, okay, okay. Even though you told them 10/20/21 and they wrote 11/20, don't have them scribble everywhere. You just, if you can't like fix it, right? If it can't be fixed like this, I would recommend you cross. Brianna Alonzo Wayne is going to have to put BAW 10/20/21. Okay? They cross, initial, and do the correction. Honestly, for this, I would have put the date down here because I don't want this to be off on the margin. So, but yeah, just thought I'd show you that. Okay, because it does happen that you tell them the date and they still write the wrong date. And again, you do this again. Okay, and then you fill out that information. Do you acknowledge that this is your signature and you're signing voluntarily and under your own free will? Yes, perfect. And you fill out that information. Okay, not for us, not for us. And this is Exhibit A, and this is the legal description of your property. Okay. Usually with this stuff, I just tell them, you know, can you verify the property address? Because, yeah. This is the U.S. Patriot Act. Okay. And this sheet right here is to help the government fight the funding of terrorism and money laundering activities. So they are asking that you present 2 forms of identifying documents for review. And I see that you have your driver's license. So that's your driver's license. Do you have any other one? Oh, I have my U.S. passport. Okay, perfect. I have the U.S. passport here. I have the ID. I make sure that the ID matches name, date of birth. Like I said, address, sometimes it's residential and sometimes it's business. So don't assume that the address here has to match this number. Another one that I see is the SSN, right? Verify the SSN. Sometimes they will give you the social security card, so that's how you can verify that. But other than that, you would verify the IDs with name, date of birth, address, SSN, okay? So they gave me the information, place of issuance, right? Let's just put this. I usually do this like that. You know, put the ID numbers, date of birth should obviously match the one over there on top. And then you write the issue date, the expiration date on both of these. And if they have a photo, you put, you know, yes, yes. And then usually this has a second part of it. And on the second part, it's literally just going to ask you for your name. You can write your name. And I believe your signature is like up here. And then it's asking for your title, and your title is Notary Public. It looks something like this on the second page, not on this. I'm just giving you an example, okay? So you grab that stuff, and remember to make sure if they're asking for a copy, you're gonna snap a picture. Oops, sorry. If they're asking for a copy of IDs or one ID, then you're gonna snap a picture with your phone, and then you can hand that back to them. There's your ID. Thank you very much. Okay, and this is your notice of right to cancel. And your notice of right to cancel is your right to cancel. This means that you have 3 business days from today. Saturday is included as a business day in real estate transactions. So today is October 20th, and you have until the midnight of October 23rd, 2021 to cancel. We are not going to be signing here. We will be signing down here and date. You will keep 2 copies of these signed ones. And if you do wish to cancel for any reason, you will also sign and date here, and it has instructions on how to proceed with canceling your transaction. Okay, so if you can please sign and date here for the acknowledgement of receipt. Okay, perfect, right? And it'll be like whatever. 21. All right, you're gonna give them both copies. Okay, I only have one here, but usually it's more copies. You give them 2 copies, and normally in the package you're gonna see a bunch of copies. Remember, it's 2 per signer you give, and the rest of them you keep in the pile. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go ahead and check off our list. Okay, and then this is where, you know, you would have them initial. Okay, so all bars signed exactly, right? It'll be like that, and it'll be like one signer dash the other signer, and you go through it like that. Okay, if it applies to you, if it doesn't apply, then you just leave it blank, because it's if applicable only. Okay, once you're done with that, right, it'll be like this. Okay, perfect. So that was the end of our signing. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and direct them over to your lender or whoever you have been in contact with throughout this entire transaction. This is my business card. Feel free to call me if you need any, you know, mobile notary work, or if you have any other real estate loan transactions you would like for me to take care of. I will be happy to help you. And if I can get your thumbprint and signature here, please. Okay, they fill this out. Signature, thumbprint. Oh, this is my little thumbprint thing. Thumbprint, bloop. Thank you. I give them a wet one and they clean their hands. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. So that was the end of our signing, and that's it. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Perfect, thank you. All right, so now we're back home. Okay. Okay, so now we're back home, right? I make sure I have everything signed, and if I need to scan back, I do scan backs. Now, this is how I do scan backs. I have to do it like this, and then I put it here, like that, and it scans back. Okay, the scanner I have is the Epson ES 580W. Looks like that, but I'll show you a picture of the one that I'm going to be getting because I really want it to be mobile, and this one has to be connected to like the wall adapter. So yeah, so I scan it, right? Everything gets scanned, and I email it over to whoever I need to email it over to, and it gets approved. Okay, so now that it is okay. So now that my documents are approved, I update the signing service. I always update them. I'm either going to update them by email, by text, or through the software that they have. But whatever it is, I update them. I let them know the signing is done, scan backs are done. Okay, I got approval. Perfect. I send these over this, and always put your business card in there. Okay, you're going to put the shipping label in here, and we're going to grab our reusable large pack. Going to put this in here. Okay, perfect. Seal it. put this there and you're done. Okay, and you're gonna go to FedEx or UPS. You're gonna drop this off, and when you drop this off, you will get a receipt. When you get this receipt, you are going to enter the information into the system and send the tracking number. Keep a copy of the receipt just in case you get something that's like, oh, we never got this. You have the receipt that says you did send it out and it's out of your hands. It's not in your trunk or whatever. So yeah, and then okay, so once I am done with dropping off the package, like I said, I update them at all times and I let them know that the package has been dropped off and that this is the tracking number. It was a pleasure doing business with them, and that's it. Go back, and because I have had to go back and get something signed. Not a big deal, but it's just, you know, it's time consuming. And you have to go back and get the job done again, but no one's paying you for it. Sorry that I've been a little bit MIA, but yeah, I have home classes with Roman, and I don't know, my schedule's just kind of like switching up. So right now it has definitely turned into an afternoon and weekend, you know, part-time type of business, which I'm totally fine with. And I feel like it you guys, I don't know of any other business that, you know, days of not doing work and you come back and it's like if you were never gone. The work is still there. The work is always there. So yeah, don't stress. It definitely works out for a lot of schedule changes. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful. I really do hope so. Like I told you guys in the video earlier, I'm not charging you for these documents or whatever. These are completely free for you to download, and just email me and I will respond to you with the attachments of everything. And you know, like I said, I'm not charging anyone for this, but if you would like to give me a cool little tip, you know, for creating these and taking the time to do this, to explain things, I would really appreciate anything and everything that you guys would give. So my PayPal link is below, my Cash App, my Zelle, coffee money, you guys. Like I appreciate Starbucks money anytime. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and replay this video over and over. Practice with those loan documents. I'm telling you, this stuff is really simple. Like it's not that hard. And yes, there's a lot to like learn, but there's no better teacher than your own experience, and there's no better way of learning than real hands-on experience. Like I really want to push you guys to get out there so that you can see that it's super duper easy. That's it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for keeping up with me and for supporting me. I really appreciate that.
I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see. Yeah.